Hey guys, this week I wanted to talk to you about words of affirmation and kind of what that looks like and how we feel about ourselves and what those can look like in our lives. So, words of affirmation was the third point that I was talking about a while ago when I made the What Now video. We need to find community that is able to speak those words of affirmation into our lives, and that can help us to combat some of those feelings of depression, of self hate, of sorrow that we feel towards ourselves and towards our surroundings. So it is extremely important that we can find that community that is able to speak those words of life into our lives. So the community that we need to find, we need to find people who are also, happy people, people who are joyful, people who have the love of Christ in them. I said happy, but they may not necessarily be like a happy person to be around. Somebody who's got that wisdom, who's able to talk to somebody who is going through a situation and just help them to get through. I think of one of my relatives, my godfather. I don't see him as a particularly happy person, but he is wise, extremely wise, and I talk to him, and I just process things that I'm going through and things that he's able to help me understand as well. So it generally is going to be somebody who's older than you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who is older. It could just be someone who is wiser, or maybe they're not particularly a wiser person, but they do have that love of Christ in them, that they can express that joy. They can remind you of the hope of your salvation. So how does that look for me? How do I try and find that community out there that is going to express those affirmative words into my life? So I try and look for people, not generally not family members, because a lot of times family members are just gonna kind of tell you what you want to hear. They're gonna blow smoke, they're gonna say those things that sound great to you. They're gonna build you up. A lot of times we need to hear that from somebody else. So I find it extremely helpful to talk to a therapist, talk to friends that are your peers, your age, and also talk to mentors, people who are older than you, people who have much more experience than you and are much wiser than you. And that is important to want to grow in that, because that is how we can start defeating these feelings of self-hatred and of depression in our lives. And this is not to say that, you know when when things go wrong in our lives, or not as we wanted. Um, that even though we have that community, it's not to say that we're not gonna get depressed. I was just told a few minutes ago that I'm not gonna be able to go to this DTS in Elsen, Norway. They don't think it's gonna be the right fit for me, and I at that point, yeah, that was a low blow. I I'm very disappointed and disheartened to hear them say that, but I need to also remember and trust that, you know, God is sovereign, and he already knew that I was not going to be accepted into this DTS at Elson. I need to I need to come to terms with that. And there are other opportunities in other parts of Norway that I can go and continue to press on for a DTS, and I'm planning on that. I really want to do that. I'm disappointed and disheartened though that I am not gonna be going to this DTS in Elsand, but the community that speaks into your life. This is not a decision that was made apart from the community, and that is so important. It was a decision that was, made in prayer. I had multiple conversations with the director of there, with the neurological nurse or neurology nurse over there. So this was a collaborative decision. And when we're making big decisions like that, we need to find that community. We need to have them give us advice. And it reminds me of the story in the Bible where the king, the prince was becoming king, and he asked his friends, or he asked his advisors. He said, should I treat these people more easily than my father did, or should I treat them harsher? And the advisors told him that he should go easy on the people. He should treat them easier. And so he didn't really like that answer, so he went to his companions, his peers, that were around the same age as him, not as experienced, and they told him to not go easy on the people, to treat them with hard labor if he needed to. And so he returned with that answer to the people that he was not gonna go light on them, and they didn't like that. And he ended up losing part of the kingdom. So these decisions that come into our lives, we need to filter them through community. I could be extremely depressed right now after having heard that Norway else in the DTS is not a good idea for me to go to. But I trust God, and I need to continue to be poured into from my community, and get that encouragement so that I don't fall into that depression and that self-hatred. So if you've got something in your life that you're depressed about, I'm depressed about how I look, I'm depressed about the job I have, I'm depressed about this addiction that I'm going through. find that community and have them speak words of encouragement in your life.